Malcador the Sigillite, the Emperor's shadow. In the shadowed annals of imperial history, amid the great battles of the Horus Heresy and the endless wars of the far future, one name stands apart: Malcador the Sigillite, Regent of Terra, First Lord of Terra, Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum, founder of the Inquisition, the Emperor's most trusted companion and confidant. To most of humanity, he is but a faint memory, his true deeds erased, and his legacy consumed by myth. Yet to those who study the fragments that remain, Malcador emerges as one of the most important figures to have ever lived, a man of immense psychic power, subtlety, and will, who gave everything in service to the Emperor of mankind. A man whose final act secured the Imperium's survival at the cost of his own existence. Malcador's origins are shrouded in mystery. Even in the most secret archives of Terra, no record survives of his birth, his early life, or the true extent of his power. He is believed to have been a human perpetual, one of a handful of undying beings who walked the earth long before the age of the Imperium. Some whisper that he was already old when the Emperor strode forth to unite old Earth, a wanderer in the wastelands of the Age of Strife. What is certain is that when the Emperor began his conquest of old Earth, Malcador was already at his side. Not a Primarch, not a demigod wrought from divine genetics, but something rarer, a mortal man trusted above all others. During the Great Crusade, Malcador's role was not that of a warrior or conqueror. He was the Emperor's administrator, diplomat, and spy master, the man who governed what others won by war. Where the Primarchs extended the Imperium by force of arms, Malcador chaired the Council of Terra, the vast bureaucracy that managed tithes, logistics, and law. Only after the heresy would this council evolve into the Senatorum Imperialis, the High Lords of Terra. It was Malcador who whispered the Emperor's will into the ears of governors and generals, who resolved feuds among the legions, and who saw that the machinery of empire did not break under its own weight. But he was far more than a statesman. Malcador was a psyker of unparalleled mastery. Among mortals, only the greatest Eldar Farseers could rival his power. Yet his gift was not destruction. It was foresight, manipulation, and mental command. He could sway minds, glimpse futures, and bind fate itself into the Emperor's grand design. The relationship between the Emperor and Malcador was unique. Where others worshipped the Emperor as a god, Malcador called him friend. Where Primarchs rebelled or doubted, Malcador obeyed. The Emperor himself addressed him as "my old friend," a rare glimpse of warmth from an otherwise distant being. If the Emperor was the blazing sun, Malcador was the long shadow cast by its light, shaping the Imperium from behind the scenes. Malcador also served as the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum. In this role, he formalized the great Clades Vindicare, Calidus, Eversor, Culexus, Vanus, and Venenum, transforming the Officio from scattered cults of killers into a weapon of state. Through his hand, the Imperium's enemies learned that even the mightiest could be slain with a whisper and a blade. Ever watchful of corruption, Malcador also laid the groundwork for an organization that would outlast even the Emperor himself, the Inquisition. To this end, he gathered a circle of trusted souls, psychers, soldiers, scholars, and faithful men and women. Among them were figures such as Kirill Sinderman, Lemuel Gauman, and Amender Akendel, whose oaths would birth the first lords of the Inquisition. But Malcador's greatest and most secret labor was still to come. As the Horus Heresy consumed the galaxy and the siege of Terra loomed, he prepared a contingency for a future where even the Emperor might fall. From across the shattered legions, he handpicked 8 Astartes warriors of incorruptible spirit and indomitable will. They were Janus, Epimetheus, Chiron, Koios, Ogun, Iapto, Jotun, and Saitra, later known as the founding Grand Masters of the Grey Knights. Some later chronicles identify Janus as Revuel Arvida, the last loyal Thousand Son. Under Malcador's orders, these chosen were taken to Titan, accompanied by human scholars, artisans, and psychers. There, beneath vaults of forbidden lore and sanctified arms, he laid the foundation of a chapter built to fight daemons themselves. Before the siege reached its height, Malcador hid Titan within the warp, shielding it with sigillic wards and macro-galler fields. To the wider Imperium, the moon was simply gone. Centuries later, it would re-emerge, the fortress of the Grey Knights, its warriors seasoned by subjective centuries of time within the warp. Thus was forged the Imperium's hidden blade, a chapter without blemish, without record of corruption, and forever dedicated to the Emperor's silent war. When the traitor legions encircled Terra and the Emperor prepared to face Horus upon the vengeful spirit, the Golden Throne, originally meant to power the imperial webway, had become a vast psychic bulwark. To leave it unattended, even for a moment, would mean annihilation. Malcador stepped forward. Knowing full well the cost, he took the Emperor's place upon the throne. For a few brief hours, he held back the tides of the warp, sustaining the Imperium by sheer will alone. The effort consumed him utterly, his body withered, his soul burned out. When the Emperor returned, mortally wounded but victorious, only Malcador's ashes remained. Those sacred remains were later entombed beneath the citadel of Titan, where the Grey Knights venerate him as their silent patron. To the masses of the Imperium, Malcador is little more than a forgotten name in catechisms. To the Adeptus Terra, he is the first regent, the Sigillite, whose seal still marks their authority. To the Inquisition, he is their father and first master. To the Grey Knights, he is the soul who gave them life. And to the Emperor, he was something more, his oldest friend, and the man who gave his life so that mankind might endure. Malcador, the Sigillite, mortal, yet greater than any mortal. The Emperor's shadow, whose sacrifice still echoes across 10,000 years of war.